I'm Keegan,
I'm Nick.
and this is the Shivers Report, where you get the most up-to-date real estate information,
In the world!
and mainly in the Pacific Northwest. Looking at the national market, how does the Pacific Northwest compare this last year when looking at the numbers throughout the real estate market?
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I think it's always important to look at is that I always, when we're talking about what's important, you got to look at inventory levels. So national numbers were roughly around 5 months of inventory nationally. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we're about 4 months. So about 4 weeks less inventory um, uh, in the Pacific Northwest compared to the nationwide. Right now, we're at around 14.8% inventory increase from 2024.
Would you say those national numbers are skewed a little bit because of places like Miami, Tennessee,
100%.
Nashville,
Yeah.
Austin? All those places are really bumping up.
100%. The Sun Belts that blew up, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, specifically Florida, Arizona, and Texas,
Yeah.
their inventory levels have skyrocketed from the year before.
Mhm.
So yes, I do believe that that's skewed a little bit.
Got it. Yeah. And then Pacific Northwest, about 4 months. Do you think that's going to continue to increase in 2026, or are we going to stay around similar levels, you think?
No, I think that the fact is, I think we've seen it at the peak. Remember, in the early summer, we had inventory levels at up 33% year over year, and right now we're at like 14.83 in the Pacific Northwest.
Got it.
So I think that will. Do I think there's going to be more inventory this year coming up in 2026 and 2025? Yes. I think the National Association Realtors, Homes.com, they all came in. They think that we're going to see about 9%. So I think that that's the case. I think more and more people, especially if we get interest rates lower, I think more and more people will either downsize or start moving up because there's a necessity. And they're looking at, okay, yeah, my interest rate's 3.5, but I have a 2-bedroom for five people. So they got to make a move.
Yeah. Yeah. And then second point would be days on market. Nationally, it says we're here looking at around 80 days on market nationally.
Yep.
In the Pacific Northwest, it's a little faster at about 72 days.
Yeah.
Kind of following that similar structure with inventory that we're a little bit below what nationally it's looking like.
Definitely above what it has been.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think that that's kind of a normal thing. But remember, all real estate, you always have to ask the question, compared to what? This is overall market. Again, first time home buyer price point. I'm kind of a follower of a person by the name of Ivy Zellman. She's one of the people that predicted the crash she says we have uh, we're still undersupplied, but the reality is we're undersupplied in a certain category of price point, and that is first time home buyer price point. Why? Majority of the properties that are being built are not first time home buyer price points. Why? Because it's not affordable for builders to build smaller houses. Yes, there are some like in Texas and stuff like that, but in this Pacific Northwest, you're not seeing a lot of single family 1,300 square foot houses.
Yeah.
You're 2 stories, 2,200 square foot. Now, we might be oversupplied in that market, but first time home buyer price point, we're, as you know, Kate, anytime we have that price point, we get multiple offers.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. And with that too, in that range, it's kind of seeing that back and forth, that above first time home buyer, 500 to even low $1 million price range.
Yeah.
That feels like the most affected right now, that middleman.
Yes, exactly. And the reason is the stock market has been crushing it, going up. Yes, it's slowed down a little bit, but this is not a good thing. Middle America is getting smashed because they don't have a lot of assets. People with assets the values have been going up. Stock market's been going up. Yes, the real estate market for the last few years has been stagnant. But again, even though inflation is under control, inflation is still an issue for food and stuff like that specifically. Housing costs has dropped dramatically, gas has dropped, energy, but food, everyday food, is still up there. So, that's why I believe that middle pricing category to even low-end luxury is starting to struggle a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And because buyers can't stretch their money only as far as they can.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's what that interest rate is a big
A big deal in
factor. That's a big factor.
affordability, yeah.
When it comes to active activity levels,
Yeah, new listings
new
coming in.
listings, yep, yep. Nationally, up 1%. Pendings are up 4%. Solds are up 2%. And that means actives were up 1%. On the PNW, it's very close. It's actives up 2.7%, pendings up 1.3, and solds up 1.1.
Yes.
So slight uptick, but we're not seeing anything crazy with that.
No. Nope. National Association of Realtors predicting, and I love their optimism, but the reality is they're predicting 14% more sales this year than last year. I don't see it happening. The only way we talked about it, the only way we see that happening is if interest rates get to mid to low fives, we might see that happening. If some of these crazy ideas like a 50-year mortgage
Yeah.
comes into play, yes, I believe that that would spur growth. I'm not a fan of that,
Hmm.
because I think that artificially spurs the market. I'm predicting that we will see a little bit of growth because I do believe we'll see interest rates come down,
Yeah.
but better than last year, but still historically pretty stagnant.
And it feels like this is like a healthy correction without any external factors that are coming into it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at 2020, 2021, 2022, there was a lot of spending.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, prices were going crazy. And it felt like there was a lot of external factors going into that
Yeah.
to really get interest rates down to what they were.
Yep.
In my opinion, it seems like the market needs to make an adjustment itself
Yeah.
without all these external factors, a 50-year mortgage, a portable mortgage,
Yeah.
all those things. I think is just kicking the can down the road for what's inevitably needs to happen, which is it needs to correct itself by itself.
Yeah, I'm a guy, let the markets do their job. They are doing their job. We have real home values dropped across the board. Nominally, they went up nationwide, down in the Pacific Northwest, but if you factor in inflation, that looks like in the Pacific Northwest, that's about a 4% drop in home values. With interest rates going lower, that keeps affordability. If we have several years of that softness, then we start getting into more affordable homes.
Hmm.
Uh, Put that in. I like some of the things that our federal government's talking about, deregulation. That is the only way you're going to get affordable housing. We need more building, more affordable building, get rid of all the red tape, all the system development costs, which can be up to 15%. That is where we'll get affordable. Let the market do its job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when it comes to transactions, do you think we're going to see major change with that? I mean, I know we've seen a lot of those stats come out. 14% growth. What do you think is a more realistic expectation for what it's going to be like next year?
Low single digit growth, I
Low single
believe.
digit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Low single digit growth.
Yeah. The beautiful thing is last year at this time we were around 6.7% interest rates, and we're at 6.2, 6.24
Yeah.
today, which is a good point to be at going into the new year. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and for any real estate information in the Pacific Northwest, we got you covered.